Hey, April here. I'm back with yet another gem. Enjoy.
So children to become non-racist. First, the accurate knowledge and pride of their own identity. A lot of white people we teach a diversity class here at PCC for early childhood. Students are required to.
The white students at PCC are required to take your diversity class. Oh, God.
And one of the things that we do in my class is everybody in the class has to do a cultural presentation. They have to bring in artifacts about their own culture and share it with the rest of the class. And they're powerful. Some of them will do PowerPoints. They'll bring in recipes and food from their families. And the white people always say, I don't have a culture. That's part of the power.
I don't think I've ever heard a white person say they don't have a culture. Perhaps your white students are saying that based upon your definition of culture and the fact that you want them to bring in artifacts. So let's look at the definition of culture. The arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively, such as the 20th century popular culture. It's also synonymous with the arts, the humanities, intellectual achievement, which is really funny because they already put that into the definition. Honestly, how many people actually have arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement sitting around in their college dorm or house, one that came from their family? Okay, now let's look at artifact. An object made by a human being, typically an item of cultural or historical interest. Gold and silver artifacts. It's synonymous with relic, article, handiwork. So I'm going to have to assume that some interest must be present in whatever item is brought in. And I really can't help but wonder if you mock the white students for bringing in something that is of no interest to you.
I don't have a culture because I'm normal. That's another word we need to talk about is normalcy. It's normal to be white in the United States. That's the norm. And that's very unhealthy.
So not having a culture is part of the power. What power are you talking about? How can it feel powerful to feel like you don't have a culture when everyone else does? What type of power is that?
How do you handle the issue of pride and whiteness?
So they have to honor where they came from. So if they came from, they're all probably European. So Italian families in German, they can celebrate their own German.
It's normal to not have a culture now. Okay, oh my God, this woman is talking in so many circles.
But the point is, because it's important for the white people to say they have a culture, because that if they don't have a culture, then that means that we are the dominant people. We don't need a culture. Because we're normal. Mm-hmm.
You're assuming that the white students who claim to not have a culture are doing so based on some alleged power and some special claim of normalcy. I've never heard any white person say they don't have a culture and that's because they're white, which makes them normal. You do realize that since before the ratification of the Constitution, it was normal to see immigrants from various countries, not just the European ones, getting off the boats, right? I'm not saying that there weren't problems throughout the history of immigration and racial issues and women's rights and all of that, but you cannot deny that things are a hell of a lot better for all races and genders than it was during the Puritan days.
We're normal, but other people have cultures. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have to have them come in. And they have a hard time thinking.
Have a hard time,
trying to find, realize that they have a culture. Mm-hmm. So they have to celebrate where their roots are from.
So they have to celebrate where they came from. Honey, guess what? I was born here. I came from here. I personally didn't come from anywhere else. And if you look at my heritage or ancestry, which some of my family were French, Puerto Rican, Venezuelan, Irish, Native American, just to name a few. Do you ever have any students say they have too much culture and are not sure as to what to bring in? How in the world does claiming to not having a culture mean they are dominant and that makes them normal? What Twisted Pretzel Logic school did you go to?
We're normal, but other people have cultures. And that's why we have to have them come in. And they have a hard time thinking.
Have a hard time,
Yeah, trying to find, realize that they have a culture. So they have to celebrate where their roots are from, Germany or France or.
Okay, so it's all about one's roots. Well, again, in cases like mine, where I actually refer to myself as a Heinz 57, which roots would be acceptable to you? I have a feeling by the way you waved your hand like that, roots of European descent would be brushed off as not interesting, or you actually might mock the students in front of the entire class. I have a feeling you would do that.